Well, hello everyone. This is Grace of GB Maltese, and I have my sweet little dachshund working on that in the field of daisies. I have quite a few more drills set down since the last time I did a WIP and chat with you. So, let's get a little bit more done here. I'm going to work in this area right now. The last time I was working on this, I was reading Edgar Allan Poe to The Telltale Heart. And I have another story picked out that I will be hopefully putting up in the next day or two. I just thought I would chat with you today. I had my lovely mammogram done yesterday. Yes, that was so fun and exciting, as you ladies know who have had that done. Every time I go, I just want to say, please don't squeeze the Charmin. I can't help it. It's just, it's just something that comes to my mind. How many of you remember that commercial with Mr. Whipple? Ladies, please don't squeeze the Charmin. Yeah. It's, I miss commercials like that sometimes. They were just simple commercials, but kind of a simple time. But, just let you know how soft the Charmin really is. And we know how important everyone thought toilet paper was back at the beginning of 2020. Yes, we need our toilet paper for sure. I'll move that so you can see what I'm doing a little better. I'll try to put it here. So, anyway, to get the mammogram, I had to go to the hospital to have it done there. So, as soon as I get there, I have my mask on. The door opens, and as I walk in there, here comes this lady with her little laser thermometer. If I'd thought about it, I thought about this later when I went in. I should have said, please don't show me, please don't show me. I just couldn't help it. Here she comes with that. And I was real hot yesterday. Oh, yeah, hot, mama. I was 96.9. Anyway, I got my temperature taken, and then they have you sit out so that they can get your insurance and make sure that everything's going to be paid for. At least procedures like that are done for free, or I wouldn't be getting it done. I still cannot bring myself to have a colonoscopy done. I said, I have a few more years before I don't know if I'm ever going to do it. But they sent me this test kit to do at home. Well, what is so funny, it came in this huge, it's in a big old box. When the box came, UPS delivered it, and I'm like, good Lord, how much of my poop are they wanting? How much sampling? I haven't even opened the box yet. But you have to, I don't know exactly what I have to do yet. And then you send your sample off, and they give you results later. I just haven't done it yet. I have it in the bathroom, but I have it under the counter. I need to set it out so I'll remember it. I am using my glue dots, and they're really sticky today. Let's get that lit. I rub it on my hand to get a little bit of that sticky, so it's not quite so sticky on me. I do use the micro glue dots, and it does say permanent on there, but that doesn't mean that it's in here permanently. So don't let that scare you. It did me at first. I'm like, oh my goodness, if I put that in there, is it going to stay in here permanently? No, it doesn't. When it gets old or whatever, it will work its way back out. out. Anyway, I like to hear the popping of the sticky on the drills. It's kind of a pleasant little sound, and I know other people that like to hear it. Let's listen to a few little bars. Well, come off of there. Okay, I told you not to be so sticky. Here I am. You know, it doesn't do this to me when I'm not on camera. It waits until I get on here and make me look like an idiot. Yes, just make me look dumber than I really am. But I love using my glue dots because I don't have to keep switching sticky stuff out. But I say use whatever makes you happy. That is the key to being happy with your diamond painting. Use what you want to do. This is a hobby that is supposed to be relaxing and fun. So I do it when I feel like it. I have been doing some crochet also. I'm working on my granny squares I showed last week, and I'm also working on another big blanket. This will be my third one that I have done, and I find it relaxing to sit on the couch and watch TV and do my crochet. I find doing my diamond painting relaxing, so I've been pretty chill lately. Just nice. The last week or so, it's been pretty good. Got my, excuse me, except for this stupid drainage. Even taking antihistamines. Still, it's the weather in Texas today. We are at 70 today. When I looked, that was the temperature at around 3 o'clock. It's just crazy. I mean, last week our high was in the 30s, and we've been, mostly the highs have been in the 50s. A few days in the 40s, and then the lows in the 30s and 40s. Well, now we are at 70 and lows in the 50s. That's just kind of crazy. But that's our weather. That's how it just decides to do. So I have no idea what, I think we may get some rain at the end of the week. We shall see. Here, now we're going. I hate to say too much about, see, look, I knew it was going to stick in there if I said anything. Just can't talk about it. Just need to get it going. There we go. And these are rhinestones. They call them candy drills at Die Moon Shop. This is where this diamond painting is from. It's Die Moon Shop, and it's called Dachshund. And you can get this in regular rounds or regular squares, and you can get it in candy. So you have a choice of what you like. And it's just as cute as it can be. It's got such a, I think the face on it is just precious. Very nice rendering of a dachshund, I do believe. And I've had some of you who have dachshunds agree with that. It's adorable. Just adorable. Whoops. I do plan on doing another story soon. I did Edgar Allan Poe last week. If you didn't listen to Telltale Heart, go give it a listen and see how you like it. Just something, different to listen to as you're diamond painting or cleaning house or knitting or crocheting or whatever it is you like to do. I thought I'd do a little reading. And I have another different type of story lined up to do. I'm just hoping that I'm not going to be drowning in this horrible drainage when I do it. Need to have something to dry myself up. Even though I take stuff, it doesn't always help. Maybe I'll drink a big glass of hot tea. Or have some on hand when I'm doing that. Oh, and talking about stories. If you are not following Brandy on Mystery of Diamonds, she's doing Forensic Fridays. You need to go and listen to hers. Hers is really good. She is a teacher, and she teaches, one of the classes she teaches is on forensic science, and she is doing Forensic Fridays, and she talks about a case study, then she reads a mystery, and you are supposed to guess who you think committed the crime. And she's going to tell the answer to last week's mystery on this Friday. So I'll put a link to the video she did of her Forensic Friday, and if you hadn't watched it, go listen. It's really good. I enjoyed it very much. Sometimes it's fun to listen to something different than the same old every time. And I thought I would, on my readings, I got somebody here, I think. Let me see. Oh, somebody had parked their truck across the street, and my dogs just thought they needed to tell them to move on. Sorry about that. Hope it didn't pierce your eardrums with Bogey doing his yapping. Tell you what, nobody is allowed to park anywhere near the house. How dare they? Well, talking about doing stories, I look for stories that are in public domain, and things that I find interesting. Sometimes that's hard to do. I have looked through lots and lots of stories to find ones that I find interesting, and hopefully you will. Because it is copyright if you read things that are not in the public domain, or unless you get permission from the publisher. So unless I find something that just really appeals to me, I really don't want to have to try to go through a publisher and bother with all of that if I don't have to. And I don't want to get a copyright strike either. But there are some fabulous stories from most stories that are 1926 and before, books and stories, are in public domain. So, that one doesn't look very good. I'm going to pop that one back out. I only put the best drills down, and you get way more than you need in their kits. So, if you have a story that you remember or have heard of that from long ago, I did look at Agatha Christie, and I didn't see any short stories that were in public domain yet. They do have a couple of books, and I've talked about books before. We'll see about books later. We'll see how the reading of stories goes and if people are interested or not. I hope you'll join me in my stories. What I'll probably do, so you know it's a story, is I'll put diamond painting in a story or something like that. And that way you'll know that what I am doing is you'll see me diamond painting, Or I might put crochet in a story. I might decide to do crochet if you wanted just doing stitches, making something. If you have a preference of which you would rather watch. But then what I do is I go back later and do a voiceover and try my best to put some inflection to try to make the story more alive so that you can really get into it. That's how I used to read to my kids. I loved doing that. So I don't want to talk about that anymore. I've talked about that before. But just in case you're new and hadn't heard, I'll do, you've heard of movies and a popcorn and a movie or something like that. This will be diamond painting and a story. Something like that. And you can grab your popcorn. Shoot, yeah. Your popcorn, your candy. Okay, let go. Let go of that. Yeah, a little bit of that came out. See, sometimes the glue dot will come out, and when it gets dry enough, you'll be able to pull the whole thing out. It's not quite ready for that. But it comes out quite easily when it's ready. Okay. I got a phone call from a friend, let's see, one day last week. Oh, it was Friday morning, and she does ESL at the high school, and she asked me if I would be interested in helping them rate the stories that the ESL kids write. And I said, sure, I'll do that. So that'll be sometime, I'm guessing end of February, first part of March is usually when those have to be done. And I don't mind doing that for her. So it'll be nice to see her. I will have to take a test before I can do it. You have to test before you can rate the papers. And those tests are not... You have to come up with the exact same thing that another person has rated. The same kind of rating. And that's not real easy. I used to have to do that every year when I was teaching. Well, it's been a while since I have had to take the test, so I'm going to hope I can still pass that test. That's going to be fun. I've missed taking tests so much. I don't know of anybody who likes to have to take any sort of test. It's just not that much fun. I'll put this where you can see it. Hopefully. We got this on his little nose. Isn't that cute? So I've got that coming up before long. And when I was thinking about that, I've been thinking about back teaching my kids at school and some of the funny things that happened. I've told you some stories. Sometimes I forget which ones I've told. I am such a klutz that I always do something goofy or crazy. And not on purpose. That's just the way things are. I remember so many different things. I'm not the most graceful person in the world. I can't help it. It's just the way it is. Okay. I remember, as a teacher, you have to be observed. Your principal or assistant principal, somebody comes in. It used to be they'd come in 4 times a year. Then they had it 2 times a year. Then it was 1 time a year. I don't know where they're at right now. It's ridiculous. They should know what you're doing in your classroom if they, just go by and look every so often, which they do a little bit better. They do what's called walkthroughs, and they do write things up about what you did that might need improvement, or what you did that was good. So that's nice. But anyway, this was when I was teaching 3rd grade. So this is many years ago. Let me get some of that sticky off. The principal came in my classroom to observe me, and I don't know why. You just get nervous, even though you get up and you do the same thing you always do. I'll remember I had a big, one of those huge notepads, and it was hanging on a wire rack. And I remember tripping all over that. Well, the principal was in the room, and I'm thinking to myself, oh, that's all I need to do is fall flat on my face, fall down, get a concussion, and then I have to do this all over again. But it wasn't that bad. Thank goodness. It's just sometimes just having someone else in the room is nerve-wracking, because you have to make sure that you meet all of certain criteria. And you know what? Normally, you're hitting them when you teach a lesson anyway, if you're doing everything correctly. But when you know that someone's looking for that, you're like hyper aware that they're looking for certain things. So, and as more time went along, I could care less if they were in there or not. I'm like, come on in. Come on in. Want something to eat? Make yourself at home. Here, you want to sit at my desk? So that, if you're a teacher, you know what I'm talking about. It's sometimes you might have an idea when they're going to come in, and most of the time you don't. And they might say, well, I'll probably see you this afternoon, and then they don't show up. And you're wondering, where are they? And you've also got to worry about, how are the children going to behave? Because I was not one of those teachers who said, if you're good when the principal's in here, I'll do this. No, whoever came in, we just went on and carried on with class. That's, I never knew when they might come in. But they were supposed to be respectful whenever anyone came in, so. But it's just nerve-wracking, because you get to thinking that you're going to forget something you probably never forget any other day when you're teaching. But let somebody else come in there, and sometimes it can be a little bit nerve-wracking. I do not miss that about teaching, having someone come in to observe me. Most principals were not a problem. I had a principal, and we had him, I guess, for about 5 years. And he would basically tell you, there is nobody in here that's perfect. Nobody's going to get this kind of rating. No one's going to... everybody has room to improve. So basically, you knew he was in there to look for you doing something wrong, or catching you in something, which, you're in there teaching and you're doing the best you can. You don't need somebody going, I gotcha. I don't know what you got me doing, but oh well. Okay, that's a number 4, so it goes right back here. Don't know how it got way over there, but it did. Okay, there's some more U's right over here. Oh, that lovely popping sound. So lovely. Just let you have a few ear-popping moments there as I diamond paint here. Just a little bit going on. in college, it was kind of funny. My husband and I, okay, when your first couple of years of college, mostly you are taking your basic courses, English, history, certain maths, whatever it is you need for the degree you're going for. Well, my husband and I got an English class together one semester, and Jerry does not like to read. He likes to read things to learn how to do something. So he will read technical things. Well, in this class we were taking, we had to read stories or novels or different things. So every time we had a story that we had to read, we had a quiz. First thing when we went in the room for the next class. So my husband, of course, he never read it. He never read the story. So what I would do, I read it because I love to read. And then I would tell him what the story was about. And after I finished telling him what the story was about, he could always pass the test. So I knew that I could probably do a good job teaching. If I could teach him something from that story and he'd pass the test after, one go-round. So that's how he passed that class. I would tell him about the story. He didn't want to read it. So he went to get a business degree, and he loved those types of classes. He loved his statistics. Oh my gosh, he loved his statistics class, which was supposed to be really one of the hardest classes, and that was one of his favorites. He enjoyed it very much. He loves to figure out, what is the likelihood that that's going to happen if this is what's going on. He finds that fascinating. Me, I love language. I was taking, when I first started, I was, my major, at that time, you had to major in elementary education or whatever education. So I could teach from 1st to 8th grade with my education. And then you took a minor. And my minor to start with was Spanish. And I did that for 3 years. And then I was wanting to teach Spanish in classes, but what they had me down was for bilingual education. And I did not think that I would be a fluent enough Spanish speaker to do that. So I did have to get up and teach a lesson in Spanish. And in that class, everyone in there was a native speaker. This was one of my bilingual education courses. And there were, I think, 5 of us in the classroom. Every single one of them was a native Spanish speaker. So I was kind of in the, the minority. But I got up and taught a lesson, and I had to, and I did. I passed the class and everything, but I'm like, I was a nervous wreck. I'm like, this is really not what I want to be doing. So I did English as my minor. I'd already taken a bunch of English because I love it, and I love to read. So I changed that. So I had a lot of Spanish courses, which eventually helped me a lot when I taught ESL. Because you know what? I felt like I could understand. I could feel I understood how those kids felt because I had classes being taught only in Spanish. It was my history class and the class on reading strategies. And the books, everything was in Spanish. So I knew how these children felt. I'm like, oh my Lord. Yeah, it was quite something. And I had this one Spanish teacher. Oh my gosh, his name was Dr. Schlick. And the name very much suited him. He would have us go to his office and to take oral tests. We would have to go in there. I can't, that's been a long time ago. I don't remember what we did, but we, of course, it was in Spanish, whatever it was. So we would have to go to his office. But what is so weird, because I had friends that I talked to that would go in there, and he would ask some of us females about kind of like our private life. He asked me if I had a boyfriend and all this kind of stuff. Yes, I do. I said, we're going to be engaged. So he didn't go any further than that. But I did have a friend that he wanted her to go to his home, and she said no. And he made it very difficult for her to pass the class. And I'm really not sure if she turned him in or not. But then I found out later, one of my education teachers that I liked so much, she was the sweetest person. I found out she and Dr. Slick got married. I'm like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? He was such a slime ball, and she was so sweet. So I don't know whatever happened or came of that. But I had him probably for 4 different classes because there weren't a whole lot of Spanish teachers, you know, the professors. Once you start getting up higher and higher, there are fewer that are teaching in that field. So he pretty much left me alone. He knew, and I think he actually met Jerry one time at something that we had at the college. So he knew I was very well spoken for. I just thought that was just weird. I'm just glad that I didn't have to deal with what my friend dealt with. That was awful. And I believe she was going to turn him in. It was just, that's just pitiful. You know, don't do things like that to people. It's just wrong. And that was a long time ago. And so these aren't things that just come up new. That was a long time ago that happened. So things happen in our lives that, well, you just get through it.